Thank you for joining us for our 2023 Workways Annual General Meeting. My name is Russell Needham and I'm the Chair of the Workways Board of Management. I extend a warm welcome to everyone who is joining us today on Teams, our community and funding partners, valued guests, our staff and of course our Board of Management. In particular, I wish to welcome Fiona Hackett, Director of Electus People, Tony Flynn, Manager of Regional Programs of the Latrobe Valley Authority, and our guest speaker, Tanya Pritchard from WWF. I also welcome Philip Suter, Independent Member of our Audit and Risk Committee, and Candice Charles, our Independent Member of our Governance Committee. We note that we have apologies from Tim Bull, MP, Russell Broadbent, MP, and Mayor Lynn McLaughlin from the Shire of Burdekin. We also have a late apology from one of our Board of Management, Marlene Elliott, who is ill at the moment. As with last year, our AGM is being held across Microsoft Teams, a tool that has allowed us important connectivity across our business. We are pleased that our staff from all our offices, from Cairns in North Queensland, right down to Gippsland, Victoria, can join us today. If at any time throughout the meeting you have a question for myself, our CEO, Kieran Kearney, or any other member of the board, please place it into a chat function and we'll make time towards the end of the meeting to answer any questions. Of course, if you would prefer to ask us a question outside of this forum, you can then send it through to the Workways email address. If there are any technical difficulties, we will be recording the meeting and this will be available on our website after the meeting. So thank you again for joining us. And I now take pleasure in welcoming Jade Lewis to deliver an acknowledgement of country on behalf of the board and staff. Thanks, Jade.
Thank you, Russell. G'day everyone. As a proud Wiradjuri woman from Albury Way, I'm born on Ngunnawal country and raised on Wiradjuri country. I'd like to acknowledge and create space for the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which I am on today, the Yagara and Turrbal people. I'd like to acknowledge our people's continuing connection to land, culture and community for the past 70,000 plus years. I'd like to thank my Yagara aunties and uncles for their welcome, love and support while I learn, play and build connection on their country. And I'd like to pay my respects to Yagara and Turrbal elders, past and present, and extend my respect to all mob here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jade. Wonderful. It is now my privilege to welcome today's special guest, Tanya Pritchard. Tanya is a senior management with koala recovery at WWF Australia and is responsible for an expansive wildlife conservation program across Eastern Australia, restoring forest habitat for our iconic koalas. Tanya is a conservation scientist with over 30 years experience in conservation and landscape regeneration. She has a lifelong passion for Australia's wild place and is committed to protecting the natural and cultural values of our country for future generations to enjoy. Please join me in welcoming Tanya today as she takes us through the important work of WWF that, of course, our own Invite team is also supporting on the ground. Thanks very much, Tanya.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Russell. Lovely to be here. Like Jade, I'm also calling in from Yagara and Turrbal country. And yeah, very excited to be able to share the amazing work that we have been doing across Australia for the koalas, and in partnership with Workways and Environment. So I'll just be giving a sort of a short presentation. So just giving you a bit of a rundown about who WWF is and the work that we're doing, and then talk more specifically about what's happening with koalas in the nation, and what Koalas Forever is all about, and how we're going to turn things around. So WWF, for those that aren't familiar with the organisation, is an international organisation with a mission to stop the degradation of our natural environment and build a better future where we can live in harmony with nature. And we're really committed to a nature positive planet by 2030, which has got zero loss of natural habitats and species extinction, halving the footprint of consumption and production, and ensuring that we tackle the global warming. And what sets us apart is that we're probably one of the world's most well-known and trusted charity. Over 90% of Australians actually know who we are. So that really gives us the opportunity to really harness supporters and get people engaged in our mission. Some of the key things that we've done over the last sort of 12 months were getting the koala uplisted to endangered, which has really helped harness investment in their recovery. We've produced a national tree scorecard. I don't know how many of you saw it, but that's really trying to advocate to national and state governments about land clearing, and that's been very effective. Getting the net-free north established, so getting the use of gill nets removed from the Great Barrier Reef, which has been an amazing achievement. 1 in 3 Australians switching off for Earth Hour in March every year as well. So yeah, we've had some great achievements over the last 12 months. We've just launched a new strategy which has been inspired by a knowledge exchange with our Indigenous partners and elders and rangers in the community. Really focused on sky, country and salt water, and trying to have inclusive language of our partners. So with this new strategy, where we've got some key priorities that we're going to be delivering, which is working with the COP31 to ensure that we stabilise the planet. Really being a powerhouse for renewables exports. We're really engaged in that space, and really working with our Indigenous colleagues to support their efforts to harness the power of nature and to build solutions to climate change. We're also really working to encourage the sustainable agricultural industry to have deforestation-free beef, working with a number of agricultural institutions on that, trying to leverage further funding, and really trying to remove logging from state forests, particularly koala habitats. And there's also a whole range of other saltwater initiatives as well. Yeah, so one of our tree campaigns that we ran recently has been very effective in really highlighting to the national and state governments about the issues of land clearing. And you may have seen more recently the issue of Talagander and the greater gliders, where they've been clearing the habitat of this stronghold of this endangered species, and we've been successful in getting a stop work order on the tree clearing of those habitats, and hopefully an ongoing stop work order, so there'll be no more clearing of those greater glider habitats. So to the teddy bear, to the koalas, which is my passion. I'm not sure how many of you are aware that there used to be over 8 million koalas across Australia when it was first colonised, and since that time, we're now down to 150,000 koalas. So that's a massive decline, and their trajectory, they're still declining. The issues of bushfires had a massive impact upon those already declining numbers, and there's still, you know, major issues around disease and dog attacks and roads, which are and habitat clearing and logging of state forests, which are continuing to cause their decline. So we're really at a critical point where, you know, the numbers have declined so much that, you know, we don't know exactly how, you know, if we can turn it around, but we're certainly going to give it a red hot go. So our Koalas Forever program is working towards recovery across a number of pillars. We're supporting critical care through wildlife hospitals in particular. We're doing large-scale revegetation to establish habitat corridors. We're advocating for increases in protected areas and to end native forest logging, working with a whole range of partners to protect and restore existing habitat on private land, and trying to establish what we call the koala economy. So working with market-based systems and new economies, such as our Koala Friendly Carbon project. And of course, it's not just about koalas, it is around a whole range of other species that occupy the same habitat. We know that glossy black cockatoos and quolls and platypus, they all occupy these really important forests that exist along the east coast of Australia in particular. And so all the work that we're doing is going to support all these other amazing Australian species as well. So our wildlife hospital projects are an important component of Koalas Forever. We're supporting the Friends of Koala Hospital at Lismore to expand and create a new surgery and new facilities, new education facilities, to be able to respond to issues like those wildfires that we had in 2019, 2020. Because we do know from the research that, you know, at this point, every koala counts, and they have been really successful in rehabilitating koalas and getting them back out into the wild, and that's helping to make a difference. One of the other really projects that I'm excited about is the chlamydia vaccine trials that we're working with Currumbin Wildlife Hospital. Even after just 2 years, the vaccine is showing that the koalas that have been vaccinated are continuing to breed. We've vaccinated them and put them back into the Eleanor population, which is riddled with chlamydia, and those vaccinated koalas are still chlamydia free, and those koalas are able to keep breeding. So we're very excited that that is actually going to be a breakthrough in tackling the chlamydia challenge, and we're looking to hopefully support the registration of that vaccine so it can be rolled out across Australia and have a broader impact. We're really committed to working with our Indigenous partners to restore koala country as well. We've got an ongoing partnership with the Githable Ranger Group, supporting a whole range of cultural burning and strategic weed control initiatives in the border ranges. And yeah, we're very excited to be able to support the work that they're doing in that area. The Koala Friendly Carbon project has been very excited, and one that Invite Environment has been supporting us on in the delivery. We've now got 5 registered carbon projects across 150 hectares of habitat, and those projects are generating an income for those landholders through the carbon, and really hoping creating a premium product, I suppose, not just a carbon credit, but a carbon credit with a difference. So we're engaging with our Indigenous partners in the delivery of those projects, and we've also established a verification monitoring method through an organisation called Accounting for Nature, which is helping us to provide verifications of those outcomes for koalas, and to ensure that people that invest in the project are getting the value for koalas through that method that we've developed. And this project's entering its second pilot phase, and we're aiming to do 500 hectares over the next 18 months in other areas, both in the Northern Rivers and other areas of New South Wales. And one of the sort of, you know, really important parts of Koalas Forever is supporting the champions in our community, because they're the people that are really going to help us scale up the work that we're doing and be able to deliver impact. And one of those great projects in the Northern Rivers is the Bangalow Koalas Corridor project. Linda Sparrow was nominated for Australian of the Year. She has been a powerhouse in getting community engaged, helping to plant hundreds of thousands of plants across the Northern Rivers in key locations for koalas. And yeah, we're very excited to be supporting that project and really harnessing the whole community in helping to recover the koala. And of course, it's important to have champion partners, and it has been a real privilege to work with the Environment team. We currently have some fantastic projects that we're partnering on. One in particular is securing private protected areas in koala strongholds, working with Georgina and Dan Cox and Fiona in the Invite team. And yeah, we're exceeding our KPIs for that project. We've got some fantastic landholders and properties on board. I think we've got about a dozen landholders that, you know, have already agreed to sign up and sign in perpetuity agreements for important koala habitats on their properties. So that's just been an amazing project to be working on with Invite, and having the expertise of the Invite team to go out there and do those assessments on those properties and ensure that the landholders are equipped with the management advice that they need to ensure the integrity of those habitats is maintained. And another great partnership with Invite is the Richmond River Koala Corridor Restoration Project. This is going out there and working with landholders to restore corridors. It's also engaging with some of our Indigenous partners, such as the Minyamai Rangers, helping to build their capacity out on country. So it's really providing a whole range of social benefits, cultural benefits, economic benefits, and environmental benefits for the koalas. And yeah, it's wonderful to see, you know, the Workways approach to engaging in these projects. And it's been one of the reasons that WWF has really been keen to partner with Workways in this restoration work, because of the really holistic way that you approach working with the community. And I think over the last 3 years, you know, we've invested, I think it's about $2.7 million in our projects with Environment, and yeah, very proud and excited to be able to work with you on those. Invite also really stepped up to support some of the flood damage restoration work that went on. As you know, there was devastating floods in the Northern Rivers 18 months ago, and a lot of our projects were affected. Landholders' livelihoods were destroyed, and yeah, it was wonderful to be able to go out there and support through funding the restoration of some of these projects. And it was great to have Invite to come and repair fences and to replace trees and to really get in there and to sort of, you know, the weeds just went bananas after those floods. So it was great to be able to get in there and work with those flood affected landholders and really help to build their resilience and their hope for the future as well. And so the science has never been clearer, awareness has never been greater, and it is really time that if we are actually going to turn things around for the koala, that we act now and that we act at scale and you know, we really move and accelerate forward, because, you know, with the decline in numbers that we've seen, We really need to turn that around and to start increasing those numbers. They are predicted, if they continue on the decline that they're on, to be extinct in the wild by 2050. And I know that my kids will not be impressed if if they become extinct on our watch. So yeah, very keen to continue this really important work that we're doing together. And yeah, hope that you all get an opportunity to somehow participate and maybe come along to one of the tree plantings at some stage. So yes, I believe that we can double koala numbers, which is what our that is the goal of our Koalas Forever project is, and particularly if we can really get everyone behind to support this amazing work that we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanya. That was terrific. We who live and have spent a lot of time here in East Gippsland are very familiar and very close with koalas through the population on Roman Island, which you would no doubt know about. But it's quite damning, the statistics that you've given us in relation to the decline in population, and it's a huge concern. It's terrific the work that WWF are doing in all sorts of things with species and all sorts of species, habitat regeneration. Your work is exemplary. It's fantastic. The koala-friendly carbon projects that we're doing, we're helping with through Envite. It's fabulous that we've got the opportunity to work with an organisation like WWF. We, as an organisation, are very, very proud of what Envite does, and it's so good to hear your comments about what they're doing to help you. So thank you very much, and thanks for coming along and being on our Teams meeting. We hope to catch up with you one day and do some of that tree planting. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We have a range of resolutions, as we always do with an AGM. All of these resolutions have been looked at and dealt with by circular resolution with the board, with the directors. So as we go through different reports and that, I will just read out the resolution and the people who have moved and seconded. So starting with the confirmation of minutes of the AGM that was held on the 23rd of November 2022, the resolution is that the minutes of the 2022 annual general meeting be accepted as an accurate record of the meeting. That was moved by Jenny Semple and seconded by Angela Hudson, with all in favour. We'll keep moving. My chairperson's report, I'll take the report as noted, which is noted in the actual annual report. That annual report is being published, will be on our website. There are some hard copies for those of us who like the old technology. So my chair's report, as I said, I'll take it as read, but go through and just highlight some points. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm pleased to present to members, staff, clients and key stakeholders my report for the 2023 year. We've again had a year of change, both in contracts and personnel. Our new contracts of Workforce Australia and TTW are now well embedded, and the results are justifying our decision to go it alone through the tender process and delivery of programs. During the year, we've had to navigate our way through the completion of our subcontract agreement for the delivery of DES services and the cessation of the state-funded JVES contract. This has come at a cost which is reflected in our financial result. These changes have been worked through by our leadership team and our staff at the coalface in what has been a challenging and at times disruptive year. This successful transition is a credit to the resilience and culture of our organisation. During the year, we held a strategic planning session in May in Coffs Harbour, and the board, together with our EMT and some of our senior leaders, carefully considered our approach to the next 12 months, noting that it will be one of consolidation and building a foundation towards future contracts and revenue streams. So in other words, consolidating business as usual with the business that we currently have. Our two subcommittees, audit, risk and governance, continue to be an integral part of the board's oversight, and they are working well on business with our EMT, internal and external auditors, receiving regular reports from consultants on cybersecurity, for instance, risk management framework, and other management requirements. Our two independent members, one on each committee, have been invaluable for their contribution. We've had a slight change in our independent members on the audit risk committee, as I mentioned before, with the recent appointment of Philip Suter, who is joining us tonight or this afternoon. We've continued throughout the year to work on our own board KPIs so as to improve our own capabilities. This has included the completion of external board performance review late last year and a further internal review just recently. It also included a skills review, which has given us appropriate insights in our board recruitment process. Two of our new board members who were appointed at last year's AGM, Ross Morgan and Melanie Woodward, have both been very welcome additions to the board, providing some fresh insights and opinions. Our financial sustainability. The 2023 year, as I said above, has been a tough year with costs associated with new contract deliveries and completion of contracts impacting our bottom line. Our deficit of just on $533,000 exemplifies this. Notwithstanding, our balance sheet remains strong with key indicators either at above or acceptable levels. We believe our strategic plan going forward provides us with pillars to consolidate over the next 12 months and to build future growth. In the year ahead, I won't go into a lot because Kieran, our CEO, will address and refers to some of the things like the imminent report from the government on the Select Committee findings on Workforce Australia and so on. We have pilot programs in youth and disability sectors, which are assisting in keeping our presence in important areas that we have identified as a board through our strategic planning sessions. So in a year of consolidation, we will continue to explore targeted opportunities to grow the business. This means fostering a culture of continuous improvement to progress performance and achieve the right outcomes for our customers. In building our sustainability, we acknowledge our staff as our greatest asset. As one of the key pillars of our strategic plan, we will continue to invest in staff through learning and development training so that we can improve job satisfaction and therefore retention. This is also an important area for our board, who are also participants in these L&D training accreditations. There's been some board changes, or we have some board changes coming up. As I referred to above, two new directors were appointed in 2020 at the 2022 AGM, Ross Morgan and Melanie Woodward. At this year's AGM, one of our long-standing directors, Thelma Hutchinson, retires, having served her maximum of 3 consecutive terms. Under our board charter, we're able to serve as a board member for three-year terms. So Thelma's terms are up this year. Thelma has actually been on the board for 10 years. That's through just a change in the constitution that was made a couple of years ago, which means that she's actually served one extra year. Thelma has held executive positions as chair and chair of our Audit Risk Committee. Thelma has clearly been a leader who has helped Workways navigate through a number of changes to help create the strong organisation we have today. Thelma's dedication, insights and leadership will be missed. We thank her for her significant contribution and wish her well into the future. Tonight we're having a bit of a dinner with Thelma. There'll be a few more words said and a bit of a presentation. I'll also make some comments a bit later in this meeting. To our leadership and staff, it goes without saying that we have an excellent leadership team headed by our CEO, Kieran, and with his executive management team and the senior leaders, they've helped him navigate another year full of challenges. To all of you, as well as our hard-working staff, we thank you for another outstanding effort and for your commitment to our mission and core values. Thank you very much. So that's my report for the year. We'll keep moving through and I'll invite Kieran, our CEO, to present his report, if you could, Kieran. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell. And thank you everyone for dialing in today from across the country. As we do start, I'll acknowledge I'm dialing in from Gunai country. And I want to give a big thank you to the wonderful Wiradjuri woman, Jade, who delivered that brilliant acknowledgement at the start of the meeting. Jade's an active and valued member of our Reconciliation Action Plan working group, who have all been working really hard on developing, in consultation with ARTIs, the next stage of our Reconciliation Action Plan, which will be launched later this meeting. And on that note, Workways has continued over the last 12 months to continue its commitment to diversity and inclusion. We've developed not only our Innovate, which is the second stage Reconciliation Action Plan, but also the Disability and Inclusion Action Plan. Both of these documents were developed in consultation with representatives across the business and provide us with an opportunity to make real change in the business and help to deliver on the values and the vision that we have. The past year has been difficult for our First Nations people, with the result of the referendum, the voice referendum in October. As an organisation, we felt it was really important to express our support publicly for the vote, and hopefully encourage others to step forward. But whilst that wasn't the result that was delivered, Workways understood the complexity and the mixed messages that were surrounding the voice, and delivered on what we thought was a commitment to provide fair, balanced and truthful information to our staff for them to be able to make informed decisions. Additionally, we also encouraged and facilitated some culturally safe meeting spaces for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander staff in the lead up and post the referendum, and that work will be ongoing. I'd like to extend my thanks to Aunties Frida and June, who earlier this year, particularly during NAIDOC week, gifted Workways totems. It was an extensive process where staff nominated totems and Auntie Frida dreamt on it. And it was a really positive experience, particularly through NAIDOC week, to recognise those totems and the importance that we have, an important role, I should say, that we play in connecting community and continuing to deliver on positive works. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Uncle Joe, who's supported our teams well throughout the year. The financial year commenced at a hectic pace. As Russell's already referenced, we commenced both the Workforce Australia and transition to work contracts. As with the start of any new contract, it is an exciting and chaotic time. We welcomed a significant number, over 80 new staff into the business, and developed ways and processes to deliver on our contract promises to government. And I'm really pleased to say that our teams across Brisbane South East and Gippsland were really cohesive and have been really positive and supportive of each other, and hit the ground running and started making a really good impact in the communities in which we work. Personally, the support and the banter and the way our teams interact has been a constant source of, joy is probably a very strong word, but it has been joyful to watch the way teams commit and support each other across the business. Transition to work was a bit slower to kick off this year, and part of that was the impacts, the lasting impacts that COVID have had on young people in the Latrobe Valley. But what we're now seeing is that there has been some really positive changes and engagement through those communities, and the young people and the team are doing a fantastic job of encouraging our young people back out into the community spaces and with our teams, which has been really good. Our Gippsland Engaged mentoring program has continued to perform well, providing support to young people who are disengaged or at risk of disengagement from school across East Gippsland. We do look forward to continued opportunities to continue that program and see where we can extend it beyond. The government's pending review, or the announcement of the review into employment services, the report's due out next week, which should provide us with a greater certainty around the future and structure of the Workforce Australia contracts and Parents Next. Workways has been exceptionally active in responding to requests for reviews or feedback or consultation in the way that the contracts have been operating and how they may operate in the future. So we've provided submissions through Workforce Australia Review, Parents Next, Disability Act and the Disability Equality Framework. We were also fortunate enough to be able to present to the Workforce Australia Select Committee in June about our experience in delivering employment services. And we remain hopeful that some of the suggestions that we've made will be picked up through the final report, which is due out next week. Our Parents Next team experienced significant change during the year. Post-budget earlier this year, the federal government paused mutual obligation or ceased mutual obligations for parents in the program. But what we've seen through exceptional customer service from the team in Parents Next, that we've continued to engage well and positively. And so we remain hopeful that the next iteration of that program will continue to deliver some of the positive impacts we've seen in the past. Towards the end of the year, our subcontract arrangement with COACT to deliver disability employment services came to an end. Workways had indicated earlier that we had the intention of tendering on our own for future contracts directly, and the extension for the DES contract served as a natural point for the two parties to consciously uncouple. The difficult decision was made to ensure we can remain financially viable and actually live our values and focus our priorities where they have the greatest impact for community. And so we do remain hopeful that that means that future iterations of contract we can continue to do so. We've become the masters of our own destiny. Unfortunately, that meant a loss of some of our staff in the DES contracts. Whilst we said goodbye to a significant number of staff across the business, we have been able to retain some and support others to find other opportunities, but it did contribute strongly to the deficit, which Russell has already referenced. Ensuring that we can retain staff and develop into the new contracts that we expect to be released for procurement next year, we launched an NDIS trial in Brisbane South, the Logan region and in Cairns. It was a really important investment that the organisation made into enabling us to remain positively impacting our local communities and ensuring that our knowledge and skills in the disability employment space remain current. Envite continues to diversify its services and deliver even greater impacts to the environment. This year we welcomed Natasha Rodwell to the role of Regional Manager in North Queensland, where she's leading the work skills traineeship program under Skilling Queenslanders for Work, but also looking for new services in that region, particularly empowering our First Nations partners to work on activities to support the recovery of the Great Barrier Reef. Coffs Harbour, Gold Coast, Lismore and East Gippsland, our remaining invite areas. Teams have delivered a range of programs that restore biodiversity, build resistance and engage people to train and develop their career in conservation and ecosystem management. We've had a 90% success rate with trainees progressing to employment or education across those work skills traineeships opportunities. We couldn't do it without the relationships with organisations such as WWF, Australian National University, Landcare and government agencies such as National Parks and Wildlife Services. They form the backbone of our business, so we work hard to maintain these essential partnerships. Together, we've been able to achieve so much more than we would have been able to on our own. Finally, we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes over the last 12 months to strengthen the foundations of our business so that we're better placed to provide effective tools and resources for our frontline teams. This year, we launched strategies to address our use of technology and digitalisation to support our people and our professional development. We've invested in systems and processes to make sure that we can deliver the services as best we can across the footprint. As well as that, the ongoing work of the quality team has supported us to maintain our accreditation in ISO 27001, ISO 9001, Right Fit for Risk and the Quality Assurance Framework. We couldn't have achieved any of this without the staff across the business and the guidance of the board. So it's been a priority to invest in the development on our leaders and the development for the future. At a senior level, and I'm not referring to age, we've welcomed 2 new members to the executive team who both have extensive experience in their respective areas and align strongly with our values. So Tracy Crowell, our new Chief People Officer, and Alison Lyle, Chief Financial Officer, joined the team late last year and mid this year, and both have added a great amount of skill and development and humour at times to the team. So I want to thank them for their positive contributions so far. We're in a precarious but exciting stage as an organisation at the moment. We're very much looking forward to the growth over the coming 12 months. We do finally have the opportunity to chart our own course and we're excited for what's ahead. So we feel more prepared than ever to ride out the inevitable bumps that come along the road in that journey. But I absolutely want to thank our staff, our managers, our leaders, the board and the executive team for placing their trust in me and the executive team. And I look forward to a brighter future with Workways. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you, Kieran. As you can all see and hear from that, there's been a lot of work done this year in development, work towards our future. And as I said before in my report, thank you very much to Kieran and the staff. It's been an exemplary effort, terrific times. Ahead, we hope we can look forward with plenty of confidence. So we've got 2 resolutions in relation to those 2 reports. The first one, so this is again, these both have been approved by circular resolution, but we'll go through them. So the first one is a motion that the report of the chair on behalf of the board for the financial year ended 30th of June 2023 be accepted. That was moved by John Webstyle and seconded by Ross Morgan, and all were in favour. The second motion is that the report of the Chief Executive Officer for the financial year 30th of June 2023 be accepted. That was moved by Marlene Elliott and seconded by Melanie Woodward, and all were in favour. So thanks very much for that. We'll keep moving and audited financial statements. These audited financial statements have been circulated to the board and the board as members of our organisation. They've had time to review. The financial reports have of course been audited, and it's an unqualified audit report for the year. Just a couple of very quick key points. Our revenue for the year was just a little bit over $32 million, slightly down on the previous year. We had an operating deficit of $1.229 million, but after the addition of some comprehensive income, which was in relation to the revaluation of buildings that's owned by the organisation, we had an underlying deficit for the year of $533,000. Our balance sheet, which is an important document showing where we stand and our strength, shows total equity in the organisation of $8.4 million. So we are still in a very strong position with a strong platform for growth and development, which we as a board keep monitoring on a monthly basis. I think that's all I'll say about the financial reports. As I said, it has been audited. It's an unqualified audit report. So we do have a resolution that the audited financial report for the year ended 3rd of June 2023, together with the director's report and the independent audit report thereon, be accepted. That was moved by Thelma Hutchinson and seconded by Jenny Semple, and all were in favour. In relation to the auditors, we also have a resolution concerning their reappointment or the appointment of auditor, and it is a reappointment. So the motion is to confirm the appointment of external auditors RSM for the 2024 financial year at an audit complete the financial audit at a cost of $59,840 plus CPI and excluding GST. So that gives you the whole technical cost of the fee. That motion was moved by Angela Hudson and seconded by Ross Morgan, with all in favour. So during the year, and part of the conversation we had at our strategic planning meeting was to look at and make sure that we were covering all of our bases to do with our charitable status and our not-for-profit status. That meant that we sought some legal advice, and it meant that we looked at a minor change to our constitution. The change was that it means we've added a clause 3.3 to our constitution, which reads that as a means of working towards achieving its principal purpose of supporting individuals in need, the company operates a number of environmental training and employment programs that are designed to provide training and employment opportunities for disadvantaged individuals. That clause has now been added to our constitution. That was considered at a board meeting in September, and then by circular resolution was distributed to all board members / members of the organisation on the 10th of November 2023 for approval. The recommended addition of clause 3.3 has now been applied to the Constitution, and we now have a resolution of the board and members that we endorse the final changes to the Constitution as previously adopted by circular resolution. So that was moved by Thelma Hutchinson and seconded by Jenny Semple, and all were in favour to update the Constitution. There are our resolutions for our AGM, and thank you all board members and everyone who participated in the circular resolutions that were required to go through that process. I'd like to now invite Kieran to introduce for diversity and inclusion and for our reconciliation plan. So Kieran, over to you to introduce a couple of our staff who are going to talk about that. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Russell. As I referenced in the report, we've had a real focus on increasing and improving our diversity and inclusion and our reconciliation action plans over the last 12 months. I've been sternly told I'm not allowed to use nicknames, and so I will simply announce Sharon McAuliffe, who is the wonderful EA to myself and the board and chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Action Plan Working Group, to talk to us about the DIAP. Thanks, Sharon.
Thanks, Kieran, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Diversity and Inclusion Action Plan Working Group, better known as DIAP, I would like to provide you with an overview of the wonderful work that DIAP has undertaken and progressed towards fostering diversity and inclusion within Workways. Since the inception of the DIAP Working Group, Workways have allocated resources to deliver this work to ensure that key prioritization was given to diversity and inclusion within the workplace. Sponsored by the Chief People Officer, the working group is made up of representation from across the organisation, including frontline positions, back of house positions and senior management. This dedicated group of key employees have clearly demonstrated their passion to foster and drive diversity and inclusion within Workways. The DIAP Working Group have regularly met throughout the year, with key focuses being the development of the DIAP framework and the DIAP action plan. Key discussion and learnings from the growth of the framework has then advanced and nourished the development of the 2023-24 DIAP action plan. The launch of this action plan is definitely a key achievement of the DIAP Working Group. Open and respected dialogue has been held at these meetings to ensure that clear understandings of what diversity and inclusion is, what it means, and what does this look like at Workways was achieved. Core features were identified as being the following: Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, culture and background, culturally and linguistically diverse, gender and sexual orientation, disability and accessibility, age, family and personal circumstances, religion and professional identity. DIAP goals were also established as being incorporated into the action plan. These goals include inclusion and belonging, equality and equity, designing for diversity and inclusion, collective responsibility and inclusive leadership. And DIAP believe that these goals will significantly contribute towards a workplace that is open, welcoming, and to which people feel connected, safe, respected, valued, and engaged. An inclusion maturity model has also been incorporated into the action plan, and this model comprises of 3 levels. Level 1 being the way that we comply, level 2, the way that we change mindsets and behaviours, and level 3 is the way that we do business. Workways is currently moving from level 1 to level 2, and this is a great step. It's a great positive step where we think beyond legal requirements to taking a proactive approach and working towards our identified goals in providing a positive, respectful and equitable workplace. In addition, DIAP has established a membership with Diversity Council of Australia, DCA, who are an independent, not-for-profit peak body for workplace diversity and inclusion. DCA provide unique research, inspiring events and programs, resources and expert advice across all diversity dimensions. All staff have access and are highly encouraged to create their own account under this membership and access the broad services and resources that DCA offer. So where to from here? So formal consultations will begin in the new year with all staff across the organisation to share and seek feedback on the action plan. Any feedback received is very much appreciated and valued, and will definitely help to guide DIAP as they continue with their commitment to support and foster a culture of diversity, inclusion, equity and respect. Also, the action plan will form part of the new employee induction process going forward. Finally, if diversity and inclusion is a topic of interest for you, the DIAP group would welcome your interest and contribution to join as a member. An expression of interest form can be found on SharePoint or simply email diap@workways.com.au. Finally, I would like to extend special thanks to the DIAP Working Group for their dedication, commitment, support and respect to each other as we have shared along the way and progressed and achieved so much together throughout this diversity and inclusion journey. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Sharon. I'll now hand over to Rhea Thornton, our National Manager for Business Growth, who is also the Chair of our Reconciliation Action Plan Working Group. Over to you, Rhea.
Thank you, Kieran. Good afternoon all. My name is Rhea Thornton. I'm the National Manager of Business Growth and I have the privilege of being the Chair of the Workways Reconciliation Action Plan Committee. Today, I'm also in Meanjin on Yagara and Turrbal country and would like to extend my respect to all First Nations who are joining us today. The Workways RAP journey started about 2 years ago with the creation of the Reflect RAP. We also joined the Reconciliation Australia network and having our RAP endorsed by Reconciliation Australia. I'm pleased to announce that Workways has successfully completed our Reflect RAP. In that time, we have achieved many activities in our journey towards reconciliation. These include Workways holding numerous NAIDOC events attended by local Indigenous leaders and community. We have identified and mapped the First Nations organisations in the communities we work. We became a member of Supply Nation. We have educated our organisation on acknowledgement and welcome to country. And most notably, we came out as an organisation in full support of the Indigenous voice to Parliament. Last week, the RAP committee came together with the inimitable aunties Frida and June to draw up the next iteration of our RAP, the Innovate RAP. As the name suggests, it will take us on a journey that creates our own ways towards reconciliation. Some of the next steps and activities that we will do as part of the Innovate RAP will be creating a recruitment and retention working group to better attract and support our First Nations people at Workways, developing, consulting and delivering training on the effects of racism, creating a mob-owned SharePoint page to educate and hold culturally appropriate resources, maintaining the yarning circle for our First Nations employees. These and many more activities will be reported on as we go through our Innovate journey over the next 2 years. Our reports will be made both publicly and also to Reconciliation Australia to ensure that we uphold one of our values of accountability. The Innovate RAP is in the process of being sent to Reconciliation Australia to be endorsed. You will see the new RAP in your office, in your sites, on the website early in the new year. Thank you for joining us in our next steps towards reconciliation.
Thank you, Sharon and Rhea. Congratulations to those working groups. It's yet another example of how Workways' commitment to community is out there working hard, working on our core mission and values. So terrific work and well done to all of the participants of those two working groups for helping put it together. We're now getting to the end of our meeting. I don't believe we have any questions. Georgie will let me know if we have, but I don't think we have.
No, no questions, Russell.
No questions. All right, there you go. So look, I'm going to a couple of closing remarks just before I introduce our final and special presentation. Just in giving these closing remarks, As I mentioned before, Selma Hutchinson, who has been a board member for 10 years, leaves us today after the completion of her maximum time that she's able to serve on the board for Workways. Indeed, Selma's been involved with Workways for not 10 years, but 12. The first 2 years that she was involved with Workways, she was an independent member of our Audit Risk Committee. So she goes back away in that involvement with audit and risk. After that, she, as I said before, became a board member and has served for 10 years. She served as board chair for a number of those years, and she's been chair of the Audit Risk Committee for several years as well. During her time with us, Selma has seen a number of changes at Workways. There's been new contracts, there's been changes to contracts, there's been different revenue streams, there's been a number of changes in personnel and a number of changes in the leadership. Throughout this time, Selma has been a dedicated and conscientious member of our board, always professional and always willing to roll her sleeves up to get the job done that needed to be done. There's a whole lot of stories I can tell about Selma because I've known Selma for a number of years. I haven't got the time to tell them now. Maybe we might tell one or two later on this evening. But Selma, in all honesty and in all humbleness, we thank you for everything that you've done for Workways, for your support to fellow board members, and for your wise counsel over a number of years. It's sad to see you leave, but unfortunately your term is finished, and they're the rules. So thank you so much for what you've done, and we wish you all the best for the future. So thanks a lot. I'd also like to, in closing the meeting, we have a special presentation on a customer that Workways has assisted. Connor came to Workways after being connected through Centrelink, and he got himself out of the hustle and bustle of Melbourne and was looking for hands-on work. Workways employer engagement officer Laura knew just the perfect place. She helped place Connor with Dalson's Truss and Frame, and they're an excellent local employer throughout East Gippsland. And Laura knew that they'd be the perfect match for Connor. So in closing our meeting, enjoy listening to and seeing our presentation on Connor. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, and we look forward to a terrific year next year. Thank you very much.
Connor fitted into the team very well. He's a well-liked guy. He's very smart. He picks up things very quick. His first job was to learn how to build trusses. 6 months later, this guy is actually building without supervision, and also can train others to build truss and frames.
I like the community here at work, and I like the positive energy there is around here, yeah. After a meeting with my Workways worker, she said that I would enjoy work here, and got me the job here, and I haven't looked back.
I'm the Employer Engagement Officer for East Gippsland, assisting employers finding participants suitable to fill vacancies within their businesses. So participants that come on our caseload, they have barriers. So what we do is we use our employment fund to assist them addressing those. So it could be counselling, getting checks which they need for employment, clothing presentation, driver's licence, registration, to make sure it's a bit easier for them to return into the workforce.
I grew up in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne with my mum. She was a single mother. She did her best to raise me, but I think I was a bit of a handful. I was getting into a little bit of trouble. About 12 months ago, I decided to have a change and move away from all the noise of Melbourne, and that was when I come down here and started looking for work.
Connor came into Workways and we discussed, okay, what's your career pathway, what have you done in the past, and how can we assist you?
When I rocked up and I met Laura, she knew what would be the best spot for me. and she got on the phone straight away, called up Graham. Within 2 days I was down here.
Connor, because he is such a light guy, he has a lot of knowledge within it now. He's picked it up so quick. We've put him through some training modules, which we do for every employee who comes in here. We teach them how to use a series of tools and then put him with a buddy.
Dalston's is just a really good work environment, and they really look after their workers. Initially, training people was there was a bit of, stress involved. I was a bit nervous around it, obviously being so new myself, but through just doing it, I proved to myself that it was possible.
Workways are a non-for-profit organisation, so there's no charge to employers who come forward to us needing assistance. Sometimes it can be a bit confronting talking to an employment agency. I like to make them aware that I'm not here to just put anyone into the job. I want to make sure it's success for their business, long-term career pathways for our participants, but a reduce of turnover for that business also. We are here to generally help the community and help the local employers any way possible.
What's hope for Connor in the future? Well, I'm already talking him up to my managers. He's one of those guys you can just see every day he's improving.
I would like to progress in the workplace. I'm quite an ambitious person, and I would like to move up in the ranks, so to speak. So yeah, if opportunities like that presented themselves, I'd definitely go for it.